In the 1970s, a 750-foot tower rose over San Antonio, casting its shadow from the cobblestones of the Riverwalk to Mi Tierra's all-night neon glow. Outsiders saw a postcard city, but life here meant $1.25 enchilada plates, mariachi music floating through Market Square, and big dreams battling old traditions. But what did San Antonio really feel like in those years before everything changed? The answer is more surprising and more personal than you might think. The Tower of the Americas stood like a promise above San Antonio, its 750-foot silhouette stretching past the old missions and out to the new neighborhoods rising on the city's edge. In the early 1970s, kids craned their necks from car windows on Interstate 37, watching the tower shimmer in the Texas heat, while families saved up for a birthday dinner at the rotating restaurant where the whole city seemed to spin beneath their feet. HemisFair Plaza, with its modern fountains and geometric walkways, became a favorite spot for Sunday strolls and school field trips, a place where grandparents told stories about the World's Fair and teenagers posed for Polaroids under the Institute of Texan Culture's soaring rooflines. The plaza's open lawns and bold architecture felt like an invitation to something bigger, a city ready to show itself off. Even the post office and convention center built for the fair carried a sense of occasion. San Antonio's skyline, once defined by church steeples and the courthouse dome, now had a new landmark that could be seen from almost anywhere in town. The tower's image landed on postcards, bank ads, and fiesta medals, a symbol that said San Antonio was not just a military outpost or a sleepy mission town anymore. It was a city with its eyes on the future, proud of its roots, but eager to be noticed. For locals, the HemisFair grounds became part of daily life, a shortcut to downtown, a backdrop for quinceañera photos, a place to feel the hum of something modern. The city's old and new identities met here in the shadow of the tower, where ambition and tradition stood side by side. Down below street level, the Riverwalk felt like its own secret world. Cobblestone paths wound past cypress trees, their roots dipping into the slow-moving water. The air was cooler here, laced with the scent of river and blooming jasmine, and the sound of laughter echoed off the stone bridges. Paddle boats drifted by, carrying families and tourists who waved at the mariachi bands playing from the banks. It was easy to lose track of time, watching the painted boats glide beneath the arches, their passengers snapping photos and tossing coins for luck. Casa Rio, with its bright umbrellas and riverside patio, was the place everyone seemed to end up. Open since 1946, it was the first to serve Tex-Mex right on the water, and by the 1970s, a plate of enchiladas or tamales here meant you were part of a San Antonio ritual. Diners sat elbow to elbow, passing baskets of chips and sipping iced tea, while ducks begged for crumbs at their feet. The menu was simple: cheese enchiladas, puffy tacos, chili con carne. But the real draw was the view. Mariachi musicians weaving between tables, sunlight flickering on the water, and the steady parade of paddle boats drifting past. Just a few blocks away, the majestic theater stood as a palace of dreams. Its Mediterranean revival interior, all gold leaf and twinkling stars, welcomed crowds for symphony concerts, Broadway tours, and Saturday matinees. On show nights, people spilled out onto Houston Street, still humming show tunes or chattering about the orchestra. The Riverwalk and its landmarks became the city's common ground, a place where tourists and locals mixed, where traditions were celebrated over a plate of enchiladas or an evening at the theater, and where the city's heartbeat could be felt in the steady flow of the river itself. Market Square on a Saturday morning sounded like a festival even before fiesta banners went up. Vendors called out in Spanish and English, selling piñatas, clay pots, and stacks of tortillas still warm from the griddle. The air was thick with the smell of roasted corn, cinnamon, and fried dough, and mariachi bands played for tips, their trumpets echoing off the old brick walls. Families browsed stalls for papel picado and hand-painted tiles, stopping to share paletas or pan dulce without worrying about the price, and most treats cost less than $1. Mi Tierra Cafe never closed. Open 24 hours, it drew night shift nurses, musicians coming off gigs, and families celebrating baptisms or birthdays. Inside, the walls glowed with murals of Mexican heroes and twinkling Christmas lights that stayed up all year. Plates of menudo, chorizo, and eggs, or carne guisada arrived steaming, and a full meal rarely topped $10. Waitresses in embroidered dresses kept coffee cups filled as the jukebox played rancheras and Tejano hits. April brought fiesta when the city exploded with parades, confetti, and cascarones cracked over friends' heads. Niosa, night in Old San Antonio, meant crowded booths in La Vilita selling chicken on a stick and gorditas, while the Battle of Flowers parade rolled down Broadway, watched by thousands waving from folding chairs. At night, the sounds of accordion and bajo sexto drifted from Lerma's nightclub and Rosedale Park, where Little Joe, E. La Familia, and Sonny and the Sunliners packed the dance floors. This was a time when music, food, and celebration stitched San Antonio's neighborhoods together, and the city felt both endlessly festive and deeply familiar. Military bases shaped the rhythm of San Antonio in the 1970s, their presence as steady as the sound of jets overhead. Fort Sam Houston, with its Spanish colonial brickwork and parade grounds, trained generations of Army medics just blocks from downtown. Lackland Air Force Base processed thousands of new recruits each year, their first taste of Texas heat coming on the blacktop drill fields. Randolph, with its white-domed headquarters known as the Taj Mahal, stood as a symbol of Air Force tradition, while Kelly and Brooks Field kept the city's west and south sides humming with civilian jobs tied to aircraft maintenance and logistics. Nearly 1 in 5 residents wore a uniform or depended on someone who did, and the city's shops, car lots, and diners thrived on steady military paychecks. Medical power anchored the city's reputation far beyond Texas. During the Vietnam War, wounded soldiers arrived by the dozens, and the hospital's burn unit became world-renowned for its pioneering treatments. Doctors and nurses worked around the clock, developing new therapies that would eventually save both soldiers and civilians. The research done here on skin grafts, infection control, and trauma care set standards for hospitals nationwide. Just northwest of downtown, empty fields gave way to the South Texas Medical Center. By the early 1970s, the UT Health Science Center opened in 1968 and was already expanding, drawing young doctors and researchers from across the country. Methodist, Baptist, and Santa Rosa hospitals rose alongside it, bringing thousands of new jobs and a professional class eager to put down roots. This cluster of hospitals and labs didn't just treat patients, it drew medical tourism from all over Texas and northern Mexico, filling nearby hotels and restaurants. The city's economy, once tied almost entirely to the military, now found itself powered by medicine and research as well. The growth of these institutions sent ripples through every corner of San Antonio, fueling the boom in new neighborhoods and changing the city's sense of what was possible. San Antonio in the 1970s felt like a place where almost anyone could buy a house and start over. Homeownership felt affordable. A 3-bedroom ranch in Churchill Estates or Oak Meadow, complete with a red tile roof, avocado green appliances, and a backyard big enough for a barbecue, might run $28,000, maybe $32,000 if you wanted a double garage. Teachers, nurses, and military families found themselves holding keys to homes shaded by live oaks, their neighborhoods stitched together by block parties and Little League games. On the northwest side, new subdivisions seemed to appear overnight, their street names promising Spanish romance and suburban comfort. Meanwhile, older districts like King William and Monte Vista still offered stately, slightly worn mansions for those willing to live with creaky floors and the sound of church bells on Sunday mornings. The city's sense of possibility got a boost in 1976 when the San Antonio Spurs officially joined the NBA. Suddenly, basketball games at HemisFair Arena became the hottest ticket in town. George Gervin's finger rolls and the roar of 10,000 fans gave San Antonio a big league swagger. For the first time, national sports writers paid attention to a city better known for the Alamo and Fiesta parades. Spurs banners hung in storefront windows, and kids practiced their jump shots on driveways all over town, dreaming of the big stage. But not everyone felt included in the city's progress. On the west side, Chicano activists gathered in church halls and marched down Commerce Street, demanding better schools and fair representation. Bilingual education, long overdue, became a rallying cry. Groups like MAYO called out the city's power brokers, pressing for change in a city where Mexican-American families made up nearly half the population, but still face stubborn barriers. The promise of affordable homes and new opportunity was real, but so was the fight to make sure it reached everyone. By 1980, San Antonio's population had soared past 785,000 people, and the tension between old neighborhoods and new ambitions was everywhere, as the city tried to grow without losing its soul. San Antonio's population has doubled since the 1970s, but the city's soul, rooted in shared culture and resilience, faces new tests as growth accelerates. The balance struck back then between heritage and change still shapes every debate today. What we preserve now determines what future generations will call home.